Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
It's showtime.
Connor's here as well.
Yeah, I am.
That's not a reference to the show. That's a reference to Angel legend Shohei Ohtani. So, 17 home runs.
Oh, it's baseball.
pitcher.
Okay,
I had no idea what we were about either.
It
That's
says
fine.
home runs.
People are gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they will.
I say legend facetiously because it's been 1 year. Not even.
Yeah, Matt sometimes gets sports tangents. Often wrestling, but sometimes other sports. Hockey was a thing for like a couple of months, but
Hockey shall be a thing in 3 weeks.
oh,
Don't you worry about that.
Wait, how we back to another season already? It wasn't that long since the last season.
Because during the last season, the last time I got all hyped, that was the playoffs, and then they went to the Stanley Cup, which is the final, and they lost, and I was real sad. But it's a new season, so yes, we're right in the middle of hockey. Well, hockey's gonna be coming up. Football just started, and baseball's getting ready to end. So
now I can't explain it for Canada, but I feel like the appeal for ice hockey, where Matt is that it's just probably really cool compared to outside in the desert. So everyone just goes for the nice free air conditioning, essentially.
yeah, that's really why our games sell out. It has nothing to do with how good the team was this year. It was everybody wanted to be around the ice.
Yes.
It's a novelty.
Yes. No, I get it. During the summer, great at the supermarket and just standing at the frozen section for a while, just like, oh, this feels nice. Just.
Like that Simpsons where they can't afford the air conditioning, so Homer creates the tent around the fridge.
Do you know, it's so stupid, but at the same time, it kind of works. I mean, sure, the electricity bill, maybe not.
It sounds stupid, but I definitely would.
Yes, yes, no.
Well, Connor, if it gets above a certain, Connor just melts, so it makes sense.
It's true.
Yes, this is true. We do have a DC Comics on this show. Coming up on this week's episode, we have Batman 54, Justice League number 7, Green Lanterns 54, Nightwing 48, Green Arrow 44, Deathstroke 35, and Adventures of the Super Sons number 2. So that's what's coming up on this week's show. Matt's looking confused. Is it a book you were expecting me to say? Okay, good.
No. I just had something in my eye, and I was trying to flush it out.
Oh, okay.
Without touching my eye. So.
I was just a little concerned. I was a little concerned that I'd missed the book and I didn't read something that I was supposed to. Shit.
Would have been pretty funny though.
Yeah. Anyway, this is what we do. We talk about comics. Occasionally ramble a little bit to intro. Yeah, not a lot of news this week. There is some weird rumours going around about heroes in crisis and who's dying and all sorts. What one spectacular theory about Poison Ivy, which I don't think is going to happen, but it's kind of insane. I don't know if you've heard this.
I haven't.
No. There's a theory going around that she's going to die in Heroes in Crisis and become the new Swamp Thing.
You know what? I'm not mad at that.
I'd be okay with that.
I mean, she's already been attached to the Green, and
yeah.
I think it was it Soul or Snyder that touched on that in Rot World.
Oh, that was
she
Snyder.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Soul did something later too. I can't remember.
Yeah, possibly.
But
But I mean,
a couple of rumored books as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this comes from Swamp Thing and Justice League Dark Issue 2, saying that he's ready to sort of pack it up and go join the Parliament. So I guess that's kind of what's lending some credence to the theory. No, you're right. Actually, though, yeah, there was like a comment. This was like right after last week's episode, which is why I didn't pop up in my news searches. There's rumored Hawk and Dove book and a rumored Spectre book, right?
Yep. Tomasi's linked to Spectre and
Hawk and Dove was Orlando, I want to say.
Orlando's to Hawk and Dove.
That was it.
Yep.
Not making me thrilled for Hawk and Dove, I'll be honest.
Is it an improvement?
It could be closer to Supergirl than it was to anything else, right?
It could be. And the one issue I read of his Wonder Woman was pretty solid, so I mean, not that Hawk and Dove as a pair get me excited necessarily on their own, but
no, but you like Condor and Swan though.
Oh yeah, they're great. Condor and Swan, they're my OTP.
Lemire doing some teasing as well.
Oh yeah, he was teasing that he was reading some JSA. I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up. That's too good to be true. I'm not getting my hopes up.
Do you know what the thing is? It could just be research for his Black Hammer stuff, because that is essentially a JSA book.
Yeah. Golden Age heroes and whatnot.
Yeah, there's truth to that. Yeah, there's a lot of mumblings going around for various things. Gil, I don't know if it's DC related, but Gail Simone was tweeting this week she's doing research for a big character she'd never written before. So I mean that could go anywhere, but you know, there's mumblings. I think we're a little bit on the quiet side because New York Comic Con is not that far away, and I feel like we'll be getting a few big announcements there. I mean, admittedly, maybe it'll all be rumored before we get there, but yeah.
Yeah, or Snyder will just tell us because that's what he likes to do.
Yeah, Snyder will tell us because that's what happens.
Yeah.
Tomasi Spectre book's cool. I mean, I don't think Spectre or Hawk and Dove as properties are neither one's like super exciting to me. Where I'm like, oh yes, and they're back. But it's the sort of thing where if you put a good creator on it and it ends up being good, it could be like the next Mr. Miracle, where it's like, oh shit, this is really good.
I'm much more into Spectre as a concept than Hawk and Dove.
Yeah, Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
That's not Ghost Rider.
Better than Ghost Rider.
Yeah, well, depending on who you ask. But,
one's just a demon thing. The other is God's justice.
Okay. The way I look at it is, it looks like DC is a little more comfortable in putting out I don't want to say weirder books, but it feels like they did before the Rebirth and New 52 and all that, where it was more concentrated, where you just kind of have these books that are around, and if you read them, cool, but if not, then they're still there.
It's diversifying a little bit, I guess. Yeah, there's a couple of weirder characters.
I'll be honest. I think they've been doing that for a long time. Even during the New 52, there are a lot of books that, they've only got 8 to 12 issues, but they still threw them out there and gave them a try. Partially just to make up the 52 number. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say they were really dead set on the 52 number, and now that feels like, okay, that gimmick's gone. We don't need it anymore.
Yeah,
and we can, if we want just a Superboy book, there can be a Superboy book.
Yeah, I mean, I would have just really meant since the start of Rebirth, which is not a complaint because I like the Rebirth refocused everything, but it has been kind of, until New Age of Heroes where they started throwing out some new things.
Kind of in the core line.
Yeah, it's just been the core mainstays of DC, and that's fine.
There was a couple of things that were on the fringe, like New Superman.
Which worked out. It was one of our favourite books for a while. Yeah. So.
No, but that was definitely one of the riskier properties. And even that's connected to Superman, right?
And we had no idea it was coming. We all thought it was a Lex Luthor book. Because it was just called The Superman, and then they changed the name.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, which is cool.
Do you remember when fake Clark Kent was running around and we were thinking it was going to be the original Superman from the original version? The bald, evil Superman? Well, time's gone by. Well, actually, this show's been going so long. I'm now nostalgic for conversations we had 80 episodes ago. That's what's happening here. So that's some interesting buzz. Obviously, still waiting on Batgirl's book DC. How about we have that? Thank you, please, kindly. But yeah, and to be fair, Tomasi on a book makes a lot of sense because he's only doing Super Sons right now, and it's it's just the one issue a month. I'm kind of expecting him to have something else. Oh, he's got Detective
I feel
coming.
Like he's working on a few things, and he'll pop. Detective's one.
That's right. I forgot about Detective there for a second. Never mind. Disregard that statement.
He's quite a fast writer. He does quite a few projects at a time usually. So I'm expecting a few things to pop up.
Yeah. Actually, if anything, I'd expect if this Spectre thing pans out, I'd expect that to be kind of replacing Super Sons almost. Not that I think it's going to wait until it's done, but just in the sense that that's like a monthly book, and then this will be another monthly book because it'll be in Detective double ship for a while.
It feels like his Adventures of Super Sons has been in the can for a while.
Yeah.
Literally, we'll talk about that later. So yeah, if this is taking up his energy, then I think he still has room for him. So Detective and Spectre, yeah. That takes up his old Super Sons. No, Super Sons was single shipping. So he was still doing Superman that was double.
Yeah, so the Detective's a double and...
Oh, Detective is still double.
Yeah.
I can't keep it straight anymore.
Yeah. So Spectre's taking Super Sons slot and Detective's taking the Superman slot, yeah. Which probably means there'll be Spectre and Detective crossovers because writers love to do that when they're writing two books.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Alright, so yeah, we'll get into books then. We'll talk about Batman 54 first. This is Tom King, art by Matt Wagner actually, popping up. Not seen him in a while.
Marred by a little bit of controversy before that came out though.
What was the controversy? Fill me in.
Originally, this was going to be coloured by Wagner's son, who did colour the cover.
Right, okay.
And it got replaced last minute and Wagner was not happy about that because they'd had an agreement and they decided it didn't fit the style of DC. And replace it is the post that he put out, and it got replaced by who is it? Murray.
I'm looking at the cover because obviously you said he still colored the cover, so I'm looking at this and I'm trying to see what they mean by doesn't fit the style of DC.
It definitely looks more flat.
Yeah,
like
a bit more old school. But Matt Wagner's art kind of lends to that, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. I prefer the colours on the cover. I think it suits it a lot better, and I think it's got a bit more style to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I like Matt Wagner's art, but I do think the colouring in the book isn't suited to his art style.
It makes it look too cartoony, which is my main problem with this issue.
Whereas his stuff usually looks quite pulpy.
Yeah. Because I've liked Wagner's art in the past, and I think the line works fine. But there's the shading, the colouring, not quite.
And I wonder if part of it was that it was kind of done last minute, was maybe a bit rushed.
Very possibly. I'm happy to say I like the issue though. Outside of that, like the story, I like a lot.
How excited were you for Condiment King?
Oh,
I immediately thought of Peter.
Yeah, see when I saw the ketchup and stuff flying around, and then Dick's just they're making fun of him, and then obviously before that making fun of what's Quilt, Quilt, Crazy Quilt. There you go. And try to understand that he's like, no, so you sew sometimes, right? You make quilts. He's like, no, quilt of colors. I don't sew.
Colors. This made me long for the Grayson days when King and Seeley were together, because you have the super quippy Dick Grayson. And here I do like how it showed that a lot like Bruce, he was an angry young man right after, but what the difference is the support structure around Dick versus Bruce.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's changed who they are as people.
Yeah,
and I really like that message in this one.
Yeah, the focus of this issue is very much just kind of showing how Bruce took care of Dick after his parents died, and then Dick's basically trying to break through and get him to open up about the fact that he's still upset about Selena. And he's trying to, like, hey, it's okay if you're not okay, you can break down. And it's not until the very end of the issue where he cracks a joke. He makes a bet about, ricocheting around the Batcave. He's like, I'll bet you a penny. I'll take the big one, and it makes Batman laugh, and then he breaks down finally. And a big thing of King's run has really been humanizing Bruce a lot more than a lot of writers do. So I thought it was effective. I think touching back at, obviously we're all big fans of Dick. Make your jokes now, folks. But he, like, using his relationship with Bruce and using their past and him being there for him and Dick trying to return the favor now is, it's heartwarming. It works, I think, if you're a fan of these characters. Yeah. So, how did Connor hate it? Because he always hates things that we like in Batman.
I think it's pretty solid. I don't love it. I'm not over the moon with it. I think it's pretty solid, though. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything definitively that I can say. Oh, it's that I don't like. Maybe it is just something in the art. Maybe it is like the colors. It doesn't quite fit the story for me.
My main problem, besides the coloring making it look cartoony, some panels of young Dick are just downright wrong looking. He looks like a tiny child instead of like if he was supposed to be like 10, 11 in that range.
Yeah, it looks more like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So... Also, his angry face is kind of funny, actually. Not necessarily in a good way. Like, I'm amused by it, so I guess it gave me some entertainment.
Yeah,
but...
it's the one where he's shouting that cucumber sandwiches are gross.
Yes, that's the one. But right after that's the Condiment King page. And he's
right back in.
Yeah, he's firing ketchup at people. And I love that Dick's all jokes. He's cracking these jokes until he gets hit in the face with ketchup. And he's like, alright, we'll talk about this later. He's like, and I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy. So that cracks me up. But no, I also like the idea of Batman trying, because some of the art's because I think the panel on that page, like the one where Dick gets ketchup on him, he gets a facial, if you will. Middle top panel with Batman with his cape across. Like, that's a really good panel. That's a really classic looking pulpy Batman panel. I like that a lot. Yep. So it still shines in places, but
that's one of the benefits of having a cape is when you fight Condiment King.
Yes.
You keep your head dry.
Yeah, so. Dick was so quick to give up the cape, but he didn't think of these applications.
Yeah.
No.
It's even things like the on that same page it uses the pow sound effect, and we don't see pow very often anymore.
No?
Yeah.
It makes it feel like a throwback, which is cool. Which had the coloring of Matt Wagner's son come through and it looked more traditionally like Matt Wagner, I think it would have had a different feel. But because of Crazy Quilt and Condiment King, and it's really like taking in all the goofiness that is Batman and Robin and some of those Silver Agey elements, just kind of whiffs a little, I think.
Well, I think using those characters that are more goofy and Silver Age actually is kind of the point, is because it harkens back to the early days of Batman and Robin and the campiness of it.
But had it looked a little bit more pulpy instead of cartoony, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm not sticking up for the art here. What I'm saying is in terms of narrative, that's why King's using them, and that's why I like it.
No, yeah, me too. I don't want it to look like I didn't like that they're using those. I just mean meshing with the art and whatnot. It comes off more cartoony, especially because you're using those cartoon characters, you know. So
I would say one of my only other major criticisms is the final page. I think it's far too cluttered, far too many word balloons on there. You got a great image of them, zipping through the sky together, and it's just all this white bubbles everywhere.
Yeah, I'd take a lot of that away, because the main page behind it, the main spread behind it looks really nice.
It's a gorgeous page. Yeah.
That's fair. And I feel weird that the cucumber sandwiches is the metaphor here for the relationship, but whatever works.
Also, have you guys ever had a cucumber sandwich?
I have
not. It does not sound appetizing.
No, I don't want one.
Sure, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like them?
Not like cucumbers on your sandwich, but like where the main.
Yeah, I've had it.
Okay.
I've gone. Well, I want a sandwich. What have I got in the fridge? Oh, only cucumber. Go on then.
Did you enjoy?
It's fine. It's not my favourite.
Okay.
Cucumber's kind of bland on its own anyway, right? So it's not offensive.
That's why they soak them in salt and other stuff and make pickles out of them.
Yeah.
Because they're so nothing. They're so base.
They're kind of just there to have something in the sandwich. So I'm not just eating bread, but
if coming to a cucumber sandwich or just making toast, I'd rather just eat the toast. You know.
See, I'm not a big fan of toast.
I just, when you're supposed to be trying to eat better and you don't want, like, I'm not going to eat bread, and then that's all you want for like a week. That's where I'm at right now. So I might have eaten a lot of toast.
Oh, jeez. I love that that's the unhealthy option. For me, I'm like, oh no, I've been good. I just had a bit of toast today. I was in a good snack.
Oh, yeah. So like, no, I've had like beef jerky and stuff like that. Like that's fine. But like, I'm trying not to eat as many carbs.
Okay.
And then you're just like, oh, I want those carbs. I want that sourdough bread right now.
Because for me, having just a bit of toast with something on it is like not having something that's really cheesy or just straight up having junk food. So I'm like, yes, toast is the better option.
You know how you stop that, as I found? Is when your wife doesn't buy junk food. So when you buy junk food,
no, I agree.
You settle for toast.
See when I have nothing junk food in the house, I eat way better. It's actually the best tactic, is just to not have it around.
It is. So, I'm just saying, like, it's not like I'm eating toast because I don't, that's because I went to the pantry and there was no cookies left. Because I ate them last week. Because she only bought enough to last a week. So, yeah.
Now what a cookie, Matt. Shut up. Let's stop this right now.
Sorry. But yeah, no, the issue was fine. Like, I've heard a lot of my friends didn't like it. They thought it was kind of a waste of an issue, which I thought it was fine. I think Bruce rebounding after, getting stood up at his wedding and then interfering with a trial. Like, this was a nice little breather before whatever happens next.
I like that he's doing like different takes on his like grief after the wedding, and this is just a one issue thing, and I don't think this is a waste at all. I think this is a fun little standalone sort of. Obviously, it's within the overall story, but it's a standalone issue in and of itself, and just what it's exploring. So I like that a lot.
We have King writing Batman and Robin, which we don't get too often. Like, yeah, we see him deal with Nightwing or Damian, but like the classic pairing.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen King write too often, so I like this.
And he nails their chemistry, I think, quite well.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair.
All right, we'll rate the issue. Matt, what are you giving it?
7.5. Just the coloring of the art kind of takes it down, and the way that Wagner draws Dick looking a little bit too young. Gotta stay away from the young Dick.
That is solid advice. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
To think I was going to make a joke about him not liking Matt Wagner's dick, and then you hit me with that. Carlo, what are you giving it?
I guess 6.5. It's pretty solid.
6.5. No, I'll slightly up Matt and go with an 8. I really like the chemistry. I love, obviously, the Condiment King crazy quilt stuff. I think it nails all that. I agree with the complaints with the colouring not quite matching the art, and I think it's worse because you see the front cover and you see what it would look like, and it's like, that looks better. Damn it.
And we're all familiar with Wagner's art from the past anyway. We know what it's capable of looking like.
Yeah, from like Trinity.
So I didn't
and stuff
know
like
about the controversy with his son, but my takeaway still was like the coloring didn't match. So now it makes sense. So at least I have a reason. Yeah. It wasn't like this is just what they put out there. So
yeah. All right, cool. So we'll move on to Justice League issue 7. Scott Snyder, Cheung is back on this issue. This is his end of arc returning issue, and this wraps up this first arc with dealing with the totality. Not that the totality is done and gone forever, but this immediate crisis and Lex trying to really, manipulate it and whatnot. A bulk of the issue, I skimmed this one again because it was so dense in terms of like, because Snyder puts in so much information that I have to read it twice just to take it all in.
Yeah.
I don't think I know what happened in this issue.
I think
I read it.
I think I have it kind of sussed. Yes, I'm kind of there.
I love how it opens with Vandal Savage riding a wolf.
Yeah. So here's the thing, I got super hyped because I love to put things in compartments, and ever since they introduced the bear, the wolf, and the hawk tribe, right, in Metal, I want to know
who place everyone.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense that Vandal Savage was the Wolf King, and he was a hero before, right, to all the Neolithic people.
So hon, right, so
and then,
Matt's clearly the bear here, right? Which one of us two is the hawk and which one's the wolf?
So Connor's the wolf because you're the bigger Batman fan, so that makes you the hawk.
That's weird logic.
That is weird logic.
It's got wings.
Oh, remember, no, because the hawk, remember the bat became the symbol of the perverted hawk, right?
Sure,
that's
okay.
where Wayne, right? So I would pair the hawk with the bat, although Connor likes Hawkman a little bit more. So, but Pete loves Hawk and Dove. So
what? No, sir, I was saying, don't spread this filthy slander, right? Filthy slander.
Orlando's Hawk and Dove book is his most excited thing for next year.
Yeah. So, but no, but I like the retelling of Vandal Savage's origin here because, for those that aren't familiar with his traditional origin, he was a caveman who came across a meteorite that advanced his intellect. So he ended up becoming this, he's been around since caveman days, and anytime there's been a crucial part of history, he's been a part of it. So in certain tellings, he was Genghis Khan. And other times he was responsible for the French Revolution and the bloodshed there. So I like what they did here is that he started off as a force for good, like with Snyder's fashion. He headed the Wolf tribe.
And he got the glimpse that that Lex essentially did that kind of changed him and changed his outlook, and now he's like, injustice and evil and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And that comes from the meteorite. So the meteorite was maybe a piece of the totality, something maybe from the dark, which I like that he's adding in that. I like these type of retcons. And then that changed him.
Which what I like,
because what did it say his name meant?
Judge.
Yeah.
I think what I like, just in a small thematic thing, is that first page when you see the meteorite going across the sky, and obviously if you're familiar with Vandal Savage's origin, you kind of just know what that is anyway. But I like that just having read this arc and getting to this issue, is that it immediately made me think of issue 1 with the totality itself coming towards Earth.
Yep.
Visually, it just linked the two of them together, and I was like, okay, that's really smart.
And like an impending doom, it was always meant to happen, right? Like this was just the first piece of the totality.
And it talked in that first issue, it opened with echoing through time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm seeing it. It's
So,
cool.
so things connect up quite nicely in that way. The bulk of the issue is essentially the rest of the Justice League like holding off various things. Well, Flash is basically the one who has to try and like save everything and close off Umbrax's pathway.
You gotta go slow.
So you got Judge Stewart in the speed car who ends up fighting Sinestro. You got Aquaman fighting Manta outside because they're trying to bring down the base that Flash is in. Wonder Woman's fighting off things inside the base. Superman, not a lot of Superman, but I did laugh a lot at the moment where it's like, Superman, something's happening on that planet, but you can't go there, it'll probably kill you. And then you just hear the foom. It's like, what was that foom noise? Clark?
Yeah.
Superman? What's happening?
That was a good moment, but not as good as we'll get to the one in the end.
Again, talking about coming full circle with the first issue.
Yeah.
With all the Batman impressions, gold, absolute gold.
Yep.
I love that the font changed, the lettering changed to this what's the term to describe a font like this?
It looks like gothic.
Gothic, yeah. But he's like, because he says the thing, he's like, oh, criminals are just a superstition and cowardly lot. And then I love the reactions. It's the thought bubbles because they're all telepathically linked. Of like, and it's Flash going, what? And then someone else is like, oh, shut it down. He's like, yeah, I told you Clark's was the best. And like, I don't sound like that. Yeah. I don't sound like that. And I think what's great about it is because that's funny enough. That would be enough to close off the joke. That would be enough to say that was a worthwhile payoff to that setup in the first issue. But I think actually taking it one step further and having Batman kind of do his own impression in a moment where he's saying, no, it doesn't matter what evil's coming, we're going to win, with the ridiculous phrase of, well, we'll justice harder. That's a ridiculous sentence, but he knows it's a ridiculous sentence. That's kind of the point. And, and Flash pointing that out and saying, oh, that's a Batman voice, made it work.
I would have appreciated the font change for that as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, because you get it with Batman's laugh right after Superman says it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the We Justice Harder was bolded, but it was still the same regular font.
Yeah. I think
I would have liked a beat of a panel as they just kind of look at Batman and go, yeah, okay. Because that's a ridiculous statement. We Justice Harder.
Well, I think they get that though. I think Flash acknowledging it is kind of like it's that way of, okay, Batman's that way, but he's like, is genuine, right? And I like that Batman's a little self-aware here. That he's intentionally saying a ridiculously over-the-top Batman line, but he means it as well. He means it because John's given this giant speech about, oh, what if though we find out that the world is evil and life and in essence is evil and injustice is the way forward,
we're
and doom
on the wrong side of history.
And he's like, well, we'll justice harder, and I'm like, I love that line so much, because for all my complaints that I'd have with this book, maybe about it being a bit too packed and a bit convoluted with some of its logic, it hits these moments really well. So
just going back to Jean giving his speech in the Hall of Justice, some interesting characters around him,
big time.
Yeah, because obviously there's some from the other leagues, but Swamp Thing's there, and Man Bat from Justice League Dark and so on, but there's a couple of others.
But you have Animal Man. You have Vixen, and you have Adam Strange.
Yeah, I thought Adam Strange. I was like, is he on Odyssey? I don't remember.
No, he's not. At least not to begin with. Yeah.
And either is Vixen or Animal Man.
No, Animal Man was the one that really sad to me. I feel like I saw Vixen was going to be somewhere on one of the books. I vaguely have a memory of that. But
that was. I mean, they were all on the Justice League United team together.
Yes. Yeah, along with Green Arrow as well, who's up there.
Yeah. But we also know that Green Arrow is the keeper of the key, basically.
Yeah. The kill switch.
I liked him being included.
No, I mean, obviously Flash. Like, I love the idea that Flash is the one to do it. I like that this book might rotate and giving them all their shining moments where they're the ones that get to be the linchpin of the whole thing, and Flash is the one who has to slow down and connect to the still force, and everyone's like rallying around, trying to hold everything off so that it can just do it in time, including Kendra just outright stabbing Luthor, which fun.
Yeah, she's going for blood.
Her wings are even more magic now.
Yes, they are. I don't know what the connection is, but it's doing something. But she actually goes inside the totality and like takes the core of it. This the mechanism, and they've got that now in the Hall of Justice. So they're going to explore that. So we end the book with John. There's a few things that happen. Obviously, there's a lot of nice wrap up where there's a really emotional touch with Jean and John That's weird to say that sentence out loud. But they embrace and forgive each other for Zhangxi, and it's like. So you have that emotional moment, and that worked really well. And then you have the setup for the other stuff. So there's a little teasing for the next arc with Wonder Woman and Aquaman, where they say, "Oh, Black Manta and Cheetah were up to something in there, and I think we might be, at the center of whatever's coming next." And it's like, "Yeah, you are." So they set up that Jean's leaving to go and see what's his face, Thanagar Prime. He's going there to see the Martian Keeper.
He's going back to find the seer.
Yeah.
Of,
the one with all the memories and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's taking Kendra and John. So I assume that'll either be a subplot or an arc down the line. So they'll be separated for a little bit. And then, of course, we get the big bombastic things where just as Wonder Woman and Aquaman are talking, Starman jumps in, boom tube style.
Yep.
And he's like, "Do you know what? I want to give this credit because I feel like I've heard the phrase, 'I am from the future and like I have the answers' or something's going to happen.' I feel like this is the first time I've heard 'I am from the past' and I have all the answers." Yeah.
And it's the Will Payton version, right? So that was Snyder had hinted this a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Right, and we didn't know which one, but we could kind of guess because he showed up in the End of Metal, like as an image.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect to see the Cosmic Rod.
No,
or the staff.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. So what's going on with that? Like.
Yeah, and why do 3 of the Justice League members have to die? As he points out.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
I hope it's not the 3 that were just randomly there. That were like, hey, why are they there?
Well, we know Swampy's on his way out already.
Yeah.
The red shirts.
So he'll volunteer himself, I'm sure.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah.
And then the final capper is we go back to Lex, who's obviously very pissed that everything's kind of fell through. And Joker calls them all back in. That's what leads to the Superman Batman joke. But he's like, okay, I need help, and we find out who he's got in captivity. The Batman who laughs.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay with this development.
Makes sense.
He's
when
he's evil incarnate.
Comes together.
He's evil incarnate. I can totally see this working, and obviously it's Snyder's baby.
One of the best drawn pages in the issue.
Yeah, I really missed Jimenez. Not that Cheung's bad. Cheung's fine, but I prefer Jimenez for these big.
I think I prefer Cheung personally.
I prefer Jimenez. I think Cheung's solid though. I think occasionally a face hero they'll be a little bit flat for me, but he's pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's terrible. I like Cheung. I like Jimenez.
I think Jimenez has a little bit tighter layout work.
Yeah.
And structurally he's a little bit better, but I think technically I prefer Cheung.
Yeah.
Not much in it. They're both pretty good.
Yeah. It's bombastic. I mean, this ends the first arc. I mean, how do we feel about the book now that the first arc is done? And this is kind of the first chapter of. Yeah.
I hope he kind of ramps down some of the bigger ideas, because I feel like he was throwing them all up against the wall through this first arc. And while it's cool, I like what he's doing. I hope he takes his time now, and instead of us getting 3, we can get like 1 or 2. So like the next arc is Manta and Cheetah and what they're up to. So I think that's good. As long as he doesn't throw a third one in there, I think we'll have time. Because this is a little bit of
it makes sense to me that you start off bigger and then you slow down after the first. It's kind of like a TV pilot. You start off with the big setup and then you slow down and sort of breathe with the characters a little bit afterwards. Obviously, that's what we're hoping for. We'll see if it does. I
appreciated that even at this scope, it never sacrificed even small character moments. Like in this one, Barry saying, he wished he could, have Clark's skills with words, to communicate what he saw. And just that was a small little. It was like one line of dialogue, but okay, that's a nice little character moment that I feel had been missing from the Justice League book for a long time.
Joe, I think is good as well. I think even just throughout this first arc, it's done a good job of balancing, like how much like time and importance each member has had. Like obviously there's been issues where one's been kind of ignored. Arguably Aquaman and Wonder Woman have had the least amount, but they're about to get an arc focused on them. Whereas like Flash was probably a bigger focus in this issue, where he'd been a little bit quieter. Where Superman was quieter in this one, but Superman and Martian Manhunter into totality was a whole big thing for 2 issues. So they've all kind of it's shifted around in who it's focusing on.
John had a big thing. Batman's probably been the least used.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which I'm okay with. It makes a nice change of pace from him being the one always overused.
So I just had a thought of the traditional Justice League lineup, like when they fought Starro, right? Batman and Superman weren't there, but you had Flash, you had Manhunter, you had a Green Lantern, you had Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and like I understand that's what makes it the Big Seven, but they were also fighting an alien threat, and here they're fighting an alien threat. So I wonder if that's on purpose out of Snyder. Like it's kind of not that he's playing with continuity, but it's almost an homage to that, right? So it really focused on Flash and Green Lantern, and they were kind of the first of the Silver Age heroes. So
my gut tells me this is just more of a coincidence than it is an intentional thing. But it's an interesting observation.
Yeah. I think it's the lineup is just because it's the Justice League cartoon, right?
But that other team also had Canary, right, instead of Hawkwoman. So but I'm just saying, I was just looking. It's like one of those English major things where you start looking at all the significance in each and everything. But no, I mean, to me, there has to be a reason why it was Flash and Green Lantern as the first 2 of these, But
in terms of the forces that are new, because we had the negative light and we had the ultraviolet light more specifically, and we had the still force, okay. So I think we'll slowly introduce the other 5, and we'll see kind of what they are. So obviously we're getting the next 2 with the next batch, so we'll see how that goes. But no, it was a really enjoyable issue. It's a bit densely packed at times, this book, but it delivers on the big moments, and I typically leave it feeling like, I'm excited for where the DC universe is and where it's going and what we're messing with. So, Matt,
as a flagship, it works.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. Matt, what are you giving it? What are you giving issue 7?
This was an 8.5. Even though it was a little bit incomprehensible to me, there's so much. It really was. It's hard to fault a book that starts with Vandal Savage riding a wolf. Like,
do you know what's funny? That so much happens in the book that when I went back to skim it, like just before we recorded, I'd forgotten that started that way. I'd forgotten about the Vandal Savage pages at the start.
Yeah.
It's a good bang for your buck.
Yes. Matt, Carlo, what are you giving it?
I agree with an 8.5. I really appreciate things like the Snyder narration coming back in, kind of really caps off the arc.
Yeah.
Felt like we've come full circle.
Yeah. I'll go with the 8.5. I was tempted to go with the 9, but I'll be reserved. Go with the 8.5. But it's very good because it's dealing with a lot of big things. Characters get moments, and Superman doing his Batman impression did really make me laugh. So, it was a nice round out way to cap it off, and then had the big cliffhangers for what's coming next. Alright, that'll take us on to Green Lanterns issue 54. Dan Jurgens writing, Marco Santucci on the art. And this is how we explain that Cyborg Superman has been behind everything. There's a little bit with the other lanterns as they drop off the survivors on this other planet, and they debate whether or not Simon's responsible for it. But most of the issue is Simon getting into this fortress and then realizing that, oh shit, I've made a huge mistake, and Cyborg Superman, as a villain always does in comic books, explains how he achieved all this, and that's the issue.
Yeah, man, this arc's been so up and down for me. Like, it really picked up when we found out that it was Cyborg Superman, and then the explanation.
This
really
issue,
drug.
I loved all the stuff with the rest of the Corps. We got all the lanterns, dealing with the Penelope's people.
Yep.
All that stuff, and the lanterns discussing what's going on with Simon. Great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything with Simon himself. Oh, what a chore.
And so when we started this with Humphreys and we had the Red Lanterns and we were like, oh man, this is kind of rough. But then it really picks up, and we had a whole arc where he talks with Batman about why he doesn't need to carry a gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was a really nice and thought out arc by Humphreys, and probably one of my favorite things he did. Uh, and I feel all that goodwill was wasted in a single, well, 2 pages.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It feels like we just undid all that character development. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I knew I should never have given up the gun. I'm like, but we did a whole thing about why you don't need the gun.
And like, so yeah, so Cyborg Superman can get in technology, so you just pick up a random alien-looking blaster. Like, you don't know how Cyborg Superman's going to be able to operate that. The whole reason you don't want to use your ring is because it's been corrupted by Cyborg Superman. So,
Yeah.
or Henshaw. I'm going to call him Henshaw. I'm not calling him Cyborg Superman anymore.
So he's been demoted. He's been demoted in Matt's eyes.
Yes, he is.
I mean, there's like small parts of the explanation I kind of liked, but like for the most part, it was definitely a lot of convoluted explanation as to how this was all happening. But I agree that the big problem with the issue is at the end when he decides like, oh, I trusted the ring, I shouldn't have done that. Here's this alien gun that's just sitting in the fortress. Okay, that moment was like, I liked the decision to give it up. I liked what that was for his character, and just reversing it like this because of one thing essentially. I don't know. It felt
I would have liked it more if he was like, oh, this guy basically killed a Guardian. We might need bigger firepower.
That's the thing.
And leave that, but don't have him pick up this gun that, for all he knows, is a garage door opener in the fortress.
Here's the thing. I don't even think it's that he can't use a gun again. I think he can, but I think it has to be a big decision to be like, okay, no, I need to use this because, for whatever reason. And I think you can still do that in this story, but because, I shouldn't have trusted the ring, that's cheap.
Oh yeah,
and
no.
That annoys me.
Like I think there's no problem. Like, he's in a position where the ring runs out and there's like weapons lying around, and he uses whatever's there, including guns, to defend himself or win the battle. Fine, I have no problem with that. The problem is that he actively says, "Oh, I trusted the ring, and never again. I need to go back to my old safety net of the gun." Like I don't know. It felt. Like I say, it felt like an undid character development that we had with him that we all liked. We all appreciated that arc with Batman.
Yeah.
So,
that
kind of sucked.
Henshaw's dialogue sounds a bit more hokey than usual. I don't know. Maybe I've just forgotten what he usually sounds like.
I think that's
because he wasn't this bad in action, and when he popped back up there,
I think
wasn't this.
I think this is a symptom of. I'm going to have the villain monologue his entire plan and how he achieved all this. I think it's hard to do that and not have it sound hokey, because that is a hokey conceit in itself.
What was particularly hokey is I can live with the monologue. It's kind of hokey, but I can live with it. But when it ends with him going, "I own you. I own all of you," fist up in the air. I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I guess really schlocky, and obviously sometimes I can like a lot of schlock in my comics, but I think that this arc so far has not been that schlocky. It's been about saving a race that are dying, and a lot of it's been like them feeling, Jessica feeling bad. Oh shit, 90-something% of this race are dead, and the opening of this book talks about how this poor civilization has been, this genocide has happened. Yeah, and then we cut to maniacal villain with the the mustache twirling and I'm going to rule the galaxy.
What I did like though is it's Jurgans is balancing Jess and her duty as a Green Lantern, but also her trying to be a friend to Simon and trying to tell the other Lanterns, well, yeah, I know it looks bad, but I know Simon. This wouldn't. It's not what it looks like. Like I know he didn't kill the Guardian, and so I like that he's trying to balance that with everything else going on, but. I just feel there's a better economy of doing this. Like
also, I feel like there's a better I don't because the whole thing is that he's like, oh, I had the Phantom ring, like I had it go invisible and it was on your hand the whole time, you didn't know, and that's how I was controlling you.
PSX Phantom ring.
And I'm like, but like, since you're controlling everything, couldn't you just talk to him through the green ring?
Yeah.
I mean, why do we need this extra added on convoluted element of, the Phantom ring is on his hand and he doesn't know it's invisible?
I would have liked him using the rings to tell the story of what had happened. So, then that would definitely give Simon the feeling that he's not in control of his own ring because the Phantom ring or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, the constructs of what Henshaw had gone through instead of them actually showing us. And then we could have used pages for other kinds of
So you're saying if Henshaw use the Phantom Ring to project constructs of the story and tell the story through the constructs instead of just showing us flashbacks.
Yeah, so and then we could use those other pages now that are taken up by, however many panels of the constructs to develop things a little bit more, like him deciding that he needs to use the gun.
Yeah. Also,
it feels Jurgans didn't manage his time well here.
Also, here's the thing. So if the Phantom Ring's what was really, controlling him and manipulating him, then why does he now not trust his regular green ring? Now that the Phantom Ring's not there anymore.
Right.
Because rings.
Because he doesn't trust rings. One ring has betrayed him, so he's lumping all rings. He's being racist towards rings. Is basically what's happening now.
Exactly.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay.
Also, since when did Guy not like Simon? Because I was under the impression that they went for boot camp when he took Jess there. Like, he was okay with Simon. So all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I never trusted that guy.
Yeah, Guy's very he's guilty. Yes, we have to go string him up because it's his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Guy's a hothead and jumps to conclusions, but he's not that. Like, this is something a bowl cut guy, not Guy that's been an honor guard in the Green Lantern Corps for like the last 15 years. It doesn't. There's just a lot here that doesn't make. I don't want to say it doesn't make sense, but it just, in terms of how I know these characters, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, just a bit schlocky and a bit forced. It is a shame because I've been liking this arc pretty much the whole way until now.
Yeah,
when Henshaw showed up at the end of the last issue, I was stoked. I was like, oh, of course, it's Jurgens. And then this happens.
I like the first chunk when it's just him like breaking in, and then the reveal as he walks out, and it's just the red eye and the Terminator almost as he blasts him. That's fun.
Yeah.
That works.
What we're basically saying is the first half of the book is pretty good.
Yes.
Because at that point is the stuff with the rest of the Corps and then him getting in. It's once he's out. So that back half is kind of tedious and unenjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right.
It's a shame.
Matt, what are you rating that?
This is a 6. The art was good. I like the art, but a lot of character stuff just wasn't there for me.
Carlo, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna go with a 5.5.
I think I'm gonna agree with the 5.5. Yeah, so it's not all bad. There's things in there you like in the first half and the art and some of the breaking in.
It's not an awful issue. It's just kind of just loses itself.
Yeah, I think the last half is just is a bit more tedious and hokey. But I think the big thing that's maybe marked it down, that's really kind of upset us all, is the character.
Yeah,
devolution, devolving. You know what I mean of Simon. What's the word? De-evolution? Is that the word?
Oh, yeah, well, you're taking them backwards, so yeah, you could say that. Devolution.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's just Green Lards. So we'll move on to Nightwing 48, Benjamin Percy writing, and some dude whose name I am going to butcher on art. Amancay Nahuelpan on art.
Close enough.
I apologise. I really do. I really have no idea how to tackle that. So this is for continuing on. Nightwing's doing what he's doing this issue because Vicky Vale and Willem are kidnapped, and in the what's the thing called? I forget what the thing's called now.
The dark web.
The dark web, yeah. They're forcing them to do this thing. They want them to hack into this thing so they can steal all this data, which takes us to a secret island off of Ireland. That was a weird sentence to say. A secret island off the coast of Ireland, where a hidden secret race happens, and the winner gets to tap in to this nexus of information where everything converges. And I'm like, that's a lot of setup. But ultimately what it is Nightwing goes to the island with his Batcave truck, and it's a motorbike race. And it's kind of wacky race because in this issue, Professor Pig is one of the racers, and he's got like his Daltrons, like trying to fire things at Nightwing.
And he's throwing Dollatrons at Nightwing.
Yes,
I love that.
I love the wacky races element of this book.
And
But
That's a lot of fun.
But
But I'm also like, what the hell is going on?
I don't
yep,
care.
this is Percy in a nutshell.
Yeah,
What the hell is going on?
I think my love of all the action in this outweighs any weird questions of what the hell is this place and why does it exist?
No,
Nonsense.
You guys say Wacky Racers. To me, it became Death Race.
I can see that.
And there's physics don't matter because this island. It's called the Isle of Harm.
Yeah,
because
the roads basically function like the TARDIS. They're much longer than the island is.
I like how no one wants to take a stab at the pronunciation of the original name.
No, that's fine. It's the what was the nickname? It was the Island of Hate or something like that, wasn't it?
Harm.
Isle of Harm. There you go.
Yeah, I believe it's Deebhal. But I could
Sure. Sure, good at.
No.
Okay, wait. That looks like Siobhan, which we all I got confused with.
Yeah, but that only applies when you put a soft letter in front of it, like an S. Doesn't work for a D, which is hard.
The D's hard.
I'm gonna just call it Isle of Harm.
Yeah,
Isle of Harm's fine. That's cool. We can pronounce that. So no, the Wacky Racy stuff I loved. I loved how sort of just pulpy it is. I loved the fact that one of them ended up being Professor Pig. And then of course another racer is Silencer, who is fun in of herself. That's kind of the cliffhanger, is that they're going to fight and they go through one of the, because there's like different sections. It's almost like a Mario Kart race where they go through a door and all of a sudden they're in this digital racetrack, and I'm like, shit, this is batshit insane, but I'm kind of having fun. I also like Silencer's first appearance in here though, because he's just in the bar and he's kind of like, picking a fight or whatever, asking questions, and you just turn the page and then you get the effect of the silence and you just hear a shh and it goes quiet, and Nightwing's like, I kind of felt the movement of a gunshot, but I couldn't hear anything. In his narration, he's saying this, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I love Silencer popping up in other people's books. This is a really unique entrance.
I wish that the cover for this issue had been the cover for the next issue.
Yeah, because it sounds like the actual fight between them is not going to be till next issue, and we'll find out why she's here and what's going on. But
but like if I didn't see that cover and didn't know, I vaguely remember reading it in the solicit, but if that hadn't been on the cover, I wouldn't have remembered that was this issue.
Yeah, but her entrance is really
cool. If I'd got to that and gone, oh, everything's gone silent, and I thought I heard a gunshot, and like, oh, hello.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It would have been cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Matt, as someone who doesn't read Silencer, how did you find her entrance?
I didn't even pick up on that. I just went back to that page to look, and I was like, oh my god, that is Silencer. Because I thought it was just Percy doing weird stuff on the island.
Oh,
right? Because he sets that up. But because I don't read Silencer, I didn't pick up that was the bubble. And then I thought I heard a gunshot. I just thought that was the island being weird because of what they had set up about the roads.
Matt's just thinking of Lost. He's just like, oh, the island's weird. Things happen.
Yeah, it's exactly. There's polar bears for no reason.
No, Joe, I think Silencer's power is such a fun power that has its own rules. It's really simple to understand, but it has so many applications for how it can be used in storytelling and how it can be used mechanically in a scene. And I think that's like a sign of a really good concept for a character. And the rest of her is pretty cool too. Like, the idea is she's trying to have a normal life. It's kind of a history of violence kind of thing going on there. But no, I dig her showing up in all the books, and it really shows that she's here to stay. Like, they like this character because she's popping up.
Yeah, it's properly integrated. I like that.
That's cool. I like it a lot.
Even if our own book doesn't stick around forever, even if we only get 12, 18 issues out of the book, the character's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, writers seem to like her, creatives like her, or editors like her. I don't know who's calling the shots here, but someone's like, hey, put her in this book.
I will say I did have one problem with this issue structurally. It's as we come out of the bar and the stuff, all the bikes have been pushed over outside, and he rides off. It's like, oh, so catch me if you can, and then the next page is just, oh, we're at the starting line for the race now.
Yeah.
I felt like I'd missed something there.
Oh, that's fair. Jarring transition. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go back and check that I hadn't missed something because I was a little confused.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. No, my big issue, not that it's not much of an issue, but the entire back half of the book is double page spreads. So
yeah, pretty much everything in the race is a double page spread.
Which is cool. Yeah, it gives it a wide angle or a widescreen kind of feel.
Yeah, cinematic, I guess.
Thing.
Also, I love those.
I was just like, oh, Oh, we're gonna do 3 of these in a row. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, go back to the wacky races, and I'll compare this to Sonic because there's a natural loop in the road. There's an actual loop.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Like, I love how
really
fun and
appreciate
cartoony this is. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, that is true. I really appreciated the flow of those double-page spreads, though. There's a lot of control over the size of the panels to control the speed. And I think that's important when you're doing something as dynamic as a race.
Do you know what's funny? I feel like if you'd asked me like before this, like, you know, what sort of stories do you want Nightwing? I don't think I'd ever say, oh, he's the character I want him to be in this really weird, pulpy, like almost Mortal Kombat-esque tournament, but it's racing on an island. But he kind of fits. He's got the right attitude where he kind of fits in to it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I still feel like I agree. You know, you say, "Oh, I don't know if this is the story for now." I still kind of feel that way. I still feel like this story with someone else might be better.
I mean, I can't really. I mean,
I like saying Flamingo and Professor Pig.
Yeah.
Especially because they tie into his time as Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, Flamingo was cool as well. Yeah.
He can pop up.
That's like the idea that another racer is someone we know from somewhere else, and also I love his introduction in this, where he just like this guy has his nose bitten off. He's just kind of sorting down the alleyway. It's cool.
And he goes and kicks over the bikes like a madman.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite issue of Percy's run so far. I really like this.
Oh.
It's really different.
I like him drinking out the skull.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really different. It's not what I think of as traditional Nightwing, but I can't deny I had a ton of fun. I'm like, yeah, you know what? If this is what Percy's run's going to be, and we were talking before how we're worried it might be too close to Green Arrow. There was nothing like this in Green Arrow. I can say that for sure.
No, completely. Yeah, after the annual, it completely took a left instead of kept going straight, and then it did a bunch of loop-de-loops.
Loop-de-loop, yeah, did the loop-de-loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone else have a slight disappointment that he didn't race in the big truck so that we could, bash people off the road in the big truck and then at some point be like,
Do you know what's funny? At the start of the issue, when he was pulling in the big truck, I was like, wait, that's going to be too slow to race like other like smaller cars, right? And then he comes out the bike and I was like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. This is the bike. That makes a lot more sense. I'd love for him to
just start in the truck, keep going, knock a few people off the sides, and then brake and spin and take the bike out the back.
I don't really care about this. I just want to ask it just for the sake of pointing out the logistical problem here. He's got this big giant bat truck on this island next to Ireland. So, what did he take it in a boat? Did he get a Wayne jet?
It's a ferry. How else do you get there?
To fly him in?
You see the ferry pull in on the first page.
Yeah, but the ferry's only coming from Ireland.
What's your problem here?
He's got a giant ass truck that he transported from Gotham/Bloodhaven to Ireland.
Yeah, it's still a boat. How else do you think they transport cars across countries?
I know they can. I'm saying that one person doing it in secret is a bit more logistically problematic.
I mean, is it that secret, or is it just I'm gonna go on a ferry?
Hold on, stop saying ferry. You don't use a ferry to go across the Atlantic.
Alright,
the ferry's just from Ireland. Ferries are short distances. Shut up with this line of thought.
Fine, I'm gonna go on a boat. A ship.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's unbelievable. I'm saying it would have taken a lot of time. It'd have been a slow trip because he'd have to go on a boat. I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I'm just pointing out how logistically, in planning for him, this would be to take his giant ass truck and get it all across the Atlantic. All right, that's all I'm saying. But it did make me wonder.
Passed since the last issue. What do you want me to say?
It did make me wonder though, if it's got a built-in like transforming thing, it can actually just be a boat itself. Because Babs would put that in. I believe in Babs.
Babs doesn't support something that ridiculous. She doesn't encourage that behaviour.
Hovercraft. The bottom extends out and becomes a hovercraft, and it can go across the water. That's what happened. He sailed here on his own.
Jesus. Ridiculous.
It wasn't a serious complaint. I was just pointing out logistics. You just had to fight me on it. Anyway.
Because it's just a boat.
I know he used the boat. I'm just saying that takes a lot of time. Never mind. All right, Matt. What are you giving Nightwing issue 48? Issue 48.
Oh, this was an 8, and it was really enjoyable.
Cool, Carlo. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 7.
That was 7. I'm rating everything higher this week, but no, I like this issue a lot. 8.5 for me. 8.5. I loved it. Probably my favorite issue of his run so far. Super fun. So we will move on then to Green Arrow 44 by Julian Shawna Benson, Javier Fernandez on the art. So this is, you've got the citizen who assassinated someone on TV after the vote, and he's coming after Oliver Queen and 2 others. The woman in particular was roiding her horses to
fix races.
To fix races, yes. And we have Oliver riding about, Kate's phoning them, being, it's like, oh my god, I'm your lawyer, can I sue this guy for libel, blah blah blah, and all crazy things are going on. And they try and track down Citizen when this is all happening, and it's like, because obviously my question early on was like, okay, what's he got on Oliver? Does he know he's Green Arrow, or is there something else?
Yeah.
And that's kind of...
but you have to think that if he thought that it was Green Arrow, then that's what be why he was coming after him, right?
Yeah, it's just like, what was his angle here? And eventually we get the reveal, and it's this. No, he was drunk when he was in college, and there was he hit a tree, and he killed this woman that his dad covered up, and whatnot. Yeah. And I actually really like the moment where Dinah turns around and says, "Oh, this can't possibly be true," and Oliver just walks out the building, and I'm like, "Shit, this is real. This happened." And obviously, he says that afterwards that he didn't know that anyone was there. He thought he just hit a tree, but the story lines up. He's like, "Okay, no, this did happen." And if that was added onto it, then yeah, that sounds right. So don't get me wrong, I'm kind of expecting it to be kind of revealed by the end of the arc that he didn't actually kill this person, that this is all set up.
That's actually something I'm worried about. I really hope it doesn't do that. I think it's
I agree.
More weight. No, he was young, he was stupid. He did do this.
Yeah,
and he has to kind of just live with
because
that.
I feel like I feel like him not knowing that happened already gets him off the hook in terms of why he didn't act appropriately at the time, right? We can already forgive him for that because he didn't know, but the guilt of it happening is still here now, and it still has the weight to it.
Yeah. Right. So the whole point of the citizen is for punishment, right?
Yeah.
And who's gonna punish himself more than Ollie once this happens? He's not counting on that. So the citizen, or he or she, we still don't know what the citizen is. Yeah. So yeah, I like that, and I like any type of Green Arrow story because Ollie can be such a sanctimonious prick sometimes.
Yep.
And that's kind of why I love him. But I like when the writers can turn that on its head. Like I feel like Lemire did that in the Outsider stuff, where he thought like he had everything figured out and he knows better than everybody, and he's like, oh no. Here's your dad really was the head of like this cult kind of thing. Oh, and here's your little sister, and it completely rocks his foundation. And I feel like here, to a lesser extent, is the same thing, where it was like, oh no, like he's got nothing on me. Oh no, maybe he does. Who is this guy? Where's it come from? And it puts that attitude that Ollie usually has in check and throws him off his game.
Yeah, because it shuts him up for a minute because he's so quick to talk and whatnot, but it shuts him up and he just walks out. I think one of my favourite things about it is that immediately he's like, oh, we've got to go save these other 2 people that he's going after. So, they split up and they go. And I like that Dinah just gets the job done, and then afterwards, when they're back at the house or whatever, like, because I was kind of half expecting, I think a poor piece of writing here for Dinah would have been her to, like, kind of fly off the handle and, like, be mad at him for it. Instead, she understands the weight of what he's just found out, and she actually tries to comfort him by making chili, and crack some jokes about the chili competition. Was it Chili Palooza or whatever they're calling it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? This actually feels very natural and realistic that she's trying to comfort him, because she, instead of being mad that he was involved in what he was involved in, she understands how this is eating at him, and she tries to help. She tries to comfort him, and I'm like, you know what? This feels very natural as a relationship in terms of the writing, and I'm like, I'm kind of digging that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they feel like an actual couple, not just 2 characters thrown together.
Definitely. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does anyone else think that all of us should just have a horse? Like
it is pretty Robin Hood, though, right?
Yeah. It's just way cooler with a horse.
Because we get the.
So I got to that page, and the lady that was riding the horses has been tied to 4 of them. And that's how Citizen's going to execute her.
Quartered, yeah.
And I got to that page, I turned and went, oh, man. Wasn't expecting that. Like,
No, it's gold. And actually, I really like the action of him, like firing all the arrows, and like he gets 3 of them, but one still got her, so she's been dragged along the ground, and then he has to try and fire that one. You know, there's fun stuff. I think the art's pretty good. I like Fernandez. The coloring's a little bit more muted here than I think it was last issue, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
There are points that it really sticks out as too bright. All the emojis on the screen, you know, the yes and no faces, they're like garishly yellow, and I feel like the first half of this as well. There's pages of Dinah and Ollie, and it's really bright, and it feels a bit much. And then when there are shadows, though, it looks really good.
Yeah. Honestly, my only real critique, and this is it's a very minor thing, because obviously Superman shows up at the end saying we need to talk, which is cool. I have a question though. The page before that, they're having the chili, and then there's a creak, and then all is, oh, I think, you know, Citizen might already be here after me, and they open the door and Superman's like flying there, floating, and I'm like, what creaked if he's flying?
Yeah.
No. This is what it is. He went down, took a step, just so he knows he's there, announced himself, and then flying, because he's like, right, I need to have the image.
That's that principle of like slasher movies aren't as scary if you think about all the actual work that the slashers are putting into things. So like, I forget what Friday the 13th they use, but it's like they put someone's head in the fridge, and then so when the people open it up, there's a head in the fridge. Think about Jason doing that. Like, they hack off the head, put it in the fridge, and then sit in the shadows and wait. Like, oh, this is gonna be good. You're gonna be so scared. You know? But yeah, if that's how you... But yeah, I didn't notice that till just now, Pete.
Yeah.
About the creek.
Yeah, because
I turned that page.
It was fine on the page. It says it was a creek or someone outside, cool. But then he's flying, I'm like, but how's this? Was it a creek? He's flying in the air.
It's his way of knocking.
Yeah. Oh, Clark's here.
Yeah.
No, because that sounds like Jason Voorhees is here. That's the problem with this.
Clark's got he's got a dark sense of humor. Just to shit him up a little bit.
So yeah,
he's going there.
Outside the creek, that image of Superman just looks so cool. The moon behind him, the cape billowing.
Yeah. Clearly, probably wanting to talk about what was just broadcast in the news about Oliver Queen. So, hey, I actually like this issue a lot. I mean, I like the first issue as well. I think this one was even better and showed. I think the writing between Oliver and Dinah I really like a lot. And then, you know, hitting Oliver with this dark thing in his past, which hopefully sticks and, you know, stays true. Because, like I say, I think he has the past because he didn't know, so we don't like hate him for it. But the guilt of it still works.
He's still responsible for what he did.
Yeah, and he can try and make amends now, you know, which I assume will be part of the plot, assuming it sticks out to be true. So no, I think that works. So no, I'm like digging the Bensons on this so far. I think I'm liking what they're doing with it. Yeah, it's cool. Brats upstairs being really loud. Thump. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a loud thump there.
No.
So Matt, what are you giving Green Arrow?
This was an 8. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Connor.
It's a solid 7.
I feel like Connor's just always like a point below like the average.
I think maybe I just have a slightly different scale of where I rate. For me, if it's a good solid issue, yeah, that's a 7. For me, this isn't into it's great territory, which is where you get into the 8s.
Well, I think it kind of is for Green Arrow. I think it is. That's not a diss of Green Arrow. I just mean in terms of what it's nailing for the character. I feel like it's just doing a lot of the right things for me. So I would agree with Matt and go with the solid 8. So that's Green Arrow. So that'll take us on to Deathstroke number 35. Christopher Priest writing, Carlo Pagulayan on the art. Connor didn't have time to read it this week, which means Matt is actually flying solo on Deathstroke. So how positive or negative are we going to be?
That's right. Yeah, so this is just the end of the Deathstroke versus Batman arc, and you get all the answers, which is kind of nice in a Priest book. Although those answers, like Pete brought up Lost earlier, those answers just add to more questions, right? So I guess that's good storytelling wise, but I'm just getting a little tired of it for Deathstroke. You know, I was just like, for once, have a straightforward story that doesn't have all these loops and double backs, and it's almost a spy story. So if you like spy stuff, then yeah, it's awesome. But if you don't, it gets really tiresome. So, but yeah, just in this one we get Bruce and Slade helping each other because they just try to murder each other, and they fell into this pit, and Priest sets up that Bruce had explored these caves back before he was Batman when he was a kid, and so he kind of knows, like, when they went down into that pit, Bruce kind of knows where he is, but because he's bleeding out and Slade has a head injury, like, they have to rely on each other. So if one goes down, the other one's screwed. Which that's a nice pairing. And then they're still shit talking each other because of all of the elaborate plans that they put into place to try to catch each other. So, like, if the FBI find out that Batman's down there, they're gonna find this entire thing on Deathstroke and Slade's operation. So if Batman's going down, Slade's going down. And so that motivates them enough to work together. The one thing that still confuses me is I feel like Priest unnecessarily inserted Tim and a hatred of Damian here, where you always felt like Tim and Damian didn't get along, right? Like, there was this uneasy alliance.
Matt, Mike's going. Right in the middle of the solo book.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. You know, Tim and Damian were always a conflicted relationship.
Yeah, but here it's like Tim was bound, set, and determined to prove that Damian wasn't Bruce's kid from the start. And so it kind of was like, well, yeah, Damian tried to kill him when they first met to take his place. But, like, it just didn't feel like Tim. So you kind of remember how we found out that Priest doesn't like Dick Grayson? So we're just like, well, then don't write him.
Yeah.
I feel like this is how he is with most of the Bat family. Like, yeah, he gets Batman and Damian, but the rest of them, I just don't feel.
That's a shame.
But yeah, so you find out the whole video and all of that was someone had put this safe deposit box that they leaked the presents to Tim. Tim finds this, makes that video, and then stores the video until later. And this is all happening when they still all think Tim's dead, right? Before Mr. Oz, you know, he's come back and all the events of Detective Comics happen. You come to all find out that who made that leak. Batman thinks that it's Adeline Kane, but that doesn't add up, and it turns out that it was Talia. And she just basically did this to mess with Slade, because that's what Talia does.
That is so Talia, though.
Yeah, right? So because of the fact it was to taunt Deathstroke, because to put him out there that he lost one kid, he has a terrible relationship with the other, and then he didn't really even know about Rose. Like, he knew about her, but, like, it was down the line. Like, we're not going to think about it. It was to make him question about, like, maybe I am a bad father, and to throw him off of his game, because Talia doesn't like competition. And so I'm trying to get to the end here. They get back up to the top, and Dick's there to stop Damian from attacking Slade for all the treachery, because of course he's upset. Jericho shows up, but then leaves. So he's been doing his best to try to get to Slade and stop this all from happening. And then at the end, you see Slade goes talk to Talia. Talia, that's where she reveals everything. And then Slade, or Deathstroke, goes to talk to Adeline. And that's where you find out that she had nothing to do with it. Because he goes, good job tampering with those tests. And she didn't even know any of this was going on. So now she thinks that Deathstroke might have more family. And then you turn to find out that Deathstroke's Bruce in disguise. So it's just, again, I don't know why Priest decided on adding that with Bruce to mess with Deathstroke, because they're at this uneasy agreement that they're going to leave each other alone.
Yeah.
But
so just to clarify, we've confirmed that Damian is Bruce's son, right?
That's where I'm going to get to at the end. Okay. They actually get the paternity. They get the paternity tests, and Alfred brings them to Bruce, but Bruce throws them in the fire because he's like, it doesn't matter. He is my son. Like, I've raised him. He's mine, and that's it. And then it goes to the fire, and you see that it's a match. And Bruce, like, I kind of always knew. And then he has a nice moment with Alfred, where he said he just wasn't, he was just looking out for me and all this. Like, that's where the stuff like Wintergreen and whatnot. But yeah, that's the best I can explain it all.
I do like that in theory, whereas, like, you know what, it doesn't even matter. I don't need to see it. I don't even think we needed to see the confirmation.
No.
Yeah.
I wish he just sort of ended it with it burning and us not seeing it, but it's a little tilt of the hands. But Deathstroke goes to Arkham next, so I don't know how any of what happened here, like with Talia, with Adeline, like Defiance was a thing once upon a time. We haven't seen Rose forever. Like, this was a book that benefited from double shipping just because there's so much going on.
It is, but at the same time, I kind of want to see what the hell goes on in Arkham.
Yeah, me too. So I don't know. I might come back for the next issue. This might just be my get off the bus point.
So see how you feel in the next month.
Yeah, I mean, week one's a little bit quieter, so I mean, if that's motivation to stick with it for a while.
Yeah, but if it's still just gonna be Priest doing the Priest stuff, like, again, if you like spy stories where there's a lot of double backing and this person doing this and picking up on the hints, then yeah, this book's fine. But with all these other books out there to read, it's just kind of like I need this one. I feel like I need to read the last issue before I read this one every time, and then that's kind of a problem.
All right, what are we giving it?
So the art by Pagulayan is like what he's always done. So the art's really good. The story's twisty-turdy. So this is a 6.5.
Okay.
Decent but not great.
All right, which does take us out to the last book of the week, which is Adventures of the Super Sons issue 2. Peter J. Tomasi writing, Carlo Barberi on the art. So we got introduced to the young Injustice League last time. Kids.
Injustice
Gang, quite right. And we get kind of their origin. The Lex is kind of the leader, and they come from this planet that kind of watches and worships like the stories of Earth, and they typically like the heroes, but he's got a twisted mind and fell in love with the villains, and he recruited the rest. And one of the big twists here, so basically they kidnap Superboy, they hit him with that kryptonite last issue, which made him depowered. And they grab him, they've got Damien wrapped up, they bring them with them. They want to get the Hypercube, which is in the fortress that Manchester Black was using, back when. And they want to use that so they can, jump through time and do whatever they want and blah, blah, blah. They can't use it right away, though, because he has to figure out how to. So he's going to go back to the home planet to try and figure it out. But the big twist here is that the Joker Jr., right, because you get Ice Princess, which is the Captain Cold, you got Shaggy Kid, and Shaggy Boy. Yeah. You got Deathstroke, or not, sorry, what's Deadshot's young version called?
I can't remember.
I don't know. But anyway, you got Joker Jr.
Rex Luthor, Joker Jr.
You got Joker Jr., and there's a sort of small moment early on where he kind of whispers to Damien, I'm not what you think, I'm going to try and help you or whatever.
Right.
And then later on, when he gets them together alone in the cells, he's like, hey, I'm not what you think, I was kind of forced into this. Rex killed my parents to try and make me go crazy so that I'd be his Joker. And I'm more of a captive than I am anything else. I want to help you, I need you to help me. Let's stop him. So he sort of tries and helps them escape. But it doesn't quite work. He gives them the kryptonite that they use to take Superboy's powers away, and Damien sort of tinkers with it because it's rigged up to a computer and whatever, and he's trying to figure out how to...
Yeah, it's synthetic kryptonite, so he tells him, Joker Jr. tells him, you can reverse the gold effects and give John his powers back.
So he ends up...
But you have to... I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so he changes the colours and stuff, and he turns it on, and he's like, oh, what's the radiation do? He turns it up, and then John starts hurting, and he's like, oh, sorry, and he turns it back down. But the big twist at the end is that when they realise that, oh shit, a shuttle left, and they might have left, and they run after the cells to try and get them. It's like, oh, Joker Jr.'s betrayed us, damn it. And they find Superboy and Damien. Superboy is split in two into Superboy Red and Superboy Blue because Damien triggered the red kryptonite.
Yep.
This is kind of glorious.
When Tomasi was writing Superman and the Mixapitalic stuff happened, and he had kind of said the original Superman Red, Superman Blue story, he was reading and got inspired to do something. Do you think this was that story?
Maybe, yeah.
It was kind of a red herring that's what it was going to be with the reveal of Mixapitalic. If so, that's awesome because this was fun.
I mean,
the Little Justice League.
even
or
before
Injustice Gang.
even before we got to the back half with Superboy and Damien, the first 5-6 pages, it was just the history of these villains. I actually liked that stuff a lot. I was kind of into hearing how this came to be, and then just the villains interacting. They're just really fun characters. I mean, as are Superboy and Damien, but the villains are actually kind of delightful to just watch, and because they're kind of almost doing fake versions of the villains we know, so they're kind of off and they're kind of juvenile versions, and it kind of works.
Yeah, it reminds me of Space Jam when
it does,
they find the Looney Tunes.
The little alien creatures, yeah.
So, and they want to, they want the Looney Tunes to come perform for them, and then, before they become the big monsters, yeah. So I was getting those vibes.
I was not expecting a Space Jam reference today, but that kind of tracks. It kind of feels like them in a little way. Now, I had a blast with this issue. I feel I don't know if this is going to be one big plot for 12 issues or if this is going to be 2 or 3 arcs over the 12 issues, but I'm having a blast with this so far. I mean, if he wants to keep this Injustice Gang around for the duration of the whole book, I am all for it, because they're a blast.
Well, you skimmed over how they got control of Superboy because they brought back the puppeteer.
Quite right.
So Superboy, when he gets hit with the gold kryptonite, it takes his powers away. But Superman had given him this force field into his belt that activates automatically. So it keeps him safe from getting hurt, but it also makes him susceptible to the Puppet Master. So the Puppet Master ends up, or the Puppeteer. Yeah,
Puppeteer. Which
ends up.
Worth mentioning, he doesn't control Superboy directly. He controls the force field around him. So John's still aware, and he's still kind of trying not to move, but the force field's moving. So we have that.
So he breaks into the fortress to steal the hypercube, and that's where we go. But yeah, Superboy Red and Superboy Blue should be a whole lot of fun. I mean, the red kryptonite effects and whatnot,
Yeah. The Damien's "what the hell's happening" face at the end is pretty gold, because they are solid. I mean, every time Barberi does an issue of this, we talk about how expressive and how big and cartoony and pulpy it is, and
I just imagine Damien going, "Oh no, what I do now? There's 2."
Damn it! Big mistake. Worst mistake I've ever made in my life. There's two Johns. What have I done? So that's fun. And Superboy even gets a hero moment because they're going to kill Puppeteer, and he jumps in to take the blast. And unfortunately, Puppeteer still seemingly dies because the door shuts and they still blast him anyway. But but John tries to save him even though he's a villain. So it's a nice little moment for him as well, which is good. So no, I'm having fun with this. It's just the right kind of. It's everything we liked about Super Sons, but it was at its best. There was a couple of dips in that book originally. But it feels like this was just where he wanted to go next, and it's still a blast.
Still don't understand why they canceled it and just didn't put it on a break like they did Supergirl.
I don't know.
It's weird because this is just Super Sons. It's picking up on threads that have happened. So I fully expect Nobody and what was her name? Kathy.
Yeah.
To show up in some form to help take down the Injustice Gang.
Yeah, we got our own little mini Justice League.
Yep. Or Boyzaro. I forget how that ended, but I think he's a friend still. So.
Yeah. Or Rob Zaro. Let's just not forget Rob Zaro.
Rob Zaro.
He was gold.
Yeah, we can have this whole thing. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. No, it's a blast. I'm having fun with this being back again. Matt, what are you giving this issue?
This is an 8.5. From the art to the storytelling, it's really good. I love Tomasi and these characters.
Yeah. I'll go with a straight 8. I think it was great, but yeah, I'll put it there. So there you go. That is actually all the books this week. It's a shorter episode this week than we've had in a while because there's a few less books.
We're saving all our energy for week 4.
Week 4 this month is like Titanic levels of
it's terrifying
comics. It's insane.
There's a Doomsday Clock and some Heroes in Crisis
and the first
Justice League Odyssey.
and the first Justice League Odyssey that week. It's
Are we sure it's coming out still?
Well, as far as we know. But
Mr. Miracle's not that weak now, is it?
No, I don't think so. It's before that. That would be a nightmare if it was.
I'm gonna have to drink like 3 rock stars to deal with that episode.
Yeah, that's going to be a mighty episode.
We all are, Matt.
Yeah, so what we do now at the end of the show is we pick our favourites of the week. We do our favourite panel / moment, best best art, best cover, and top 5 books of the week. So that's what we're going to do just now. So we start with panel / moment. I'm going to go to Matt first. I'm going to go to Connor first. He's been quiet. He didn't read the last 2 books. Connor, what's your panel / moment?
I'm going to go with Vandal Savage riding a wolf, because I opened that book and I was like, yep, I'm in.
I can't fault the pick. Matt, what you picking?
Well, since Connor took mine, I want to add a little bit of diversity. Mine's also from Justice League, but it's when John's fighting Sinestro, and Flash manages to close the door on Umbrax, and Sinestro's like, "You're just a soldier," and John goes, "Yeah, but you forget I'm also an architect," and then just builds this building and crushes Sinestro with it. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
A really good moment.
Because he became a Green Lantern again in that moment. So that was really big.
He became a Green Lantern because the door shut on Umbrax.
It was a crowd pleaser moment, I suppose you'd say. As tempted as I am to go with Condiment King from Batman, I'm going to go with a panel from Nightwing. Mr. Pig's entrance. Silencer's entrance is also fantastic, but I want to go with Mr. Pig because I knew Silencer was going to be in the issue. Mr. Pig, or Professor Pig, sorry, I keep saying Mr. Pig. Professor Pig, though.
He studied to get that title. Do him his dues.
I'm so sorry, Professor Pig.
You get tenure at an evil university to be called Mr. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I love the assumption here that he actually got a degree and a doctorate.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But he his appearance was unexpected. It was out of nowhere, and it made me pop. It was a nice surprise. Whereas Silencer, because of the cover, I knew she was popping up. Yeah. So, as good as it was. Yeah. So there you go. That's my pick. So cover of the week, Connor.
Oh, there's a few good ones here. We have the Deathstroke variant. It looks like a Matina. I haven't checked. It's very good. The regular Batman cover is pretty solid. But I think I'm gonna go with the Green Arrow variant. I think it's the Carrie Andrews one. Yeah.
I think I quite like the. Let me just double check it just to make sure it's what I thought it was. The Nightwing variant I think is pretty solid. Is that Rockefort?
The Rockefort
yeah,
one.
Rockefort.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. I'll go with that. I'll put some diversity. Batman's really good though. Matt.
Yep. So mine's the Justice League variant. Jim Lee, Superman. Looks great. I love Jim Lee Superman.
Yeah. No, it is pretty great.
Okay. So best art of the week. Matt, what are you going for?
So mine's Barberi, Super Sons. Like you said, it's super expressive, and it just feels right. It's nice and comforting.
Yeah, I actually think I have to agree with that. I think it was probably the most solid, consistent art of the week that I was really digging. So I'll agree with Super Sons.
Obviously, I didn't read that, so I'm gonna go with Cheung because I thought everything in Justice League was pretty great.
Yeah, cool. All right, top 5 books of the week then. Connor.
So number 1's Justice League. That's pretty easy. Number 2 is Batman. 3 is Green Arrow. 4's Nightwing, and 5's Green Lanterns. Because that's the only 5 I read. That's why Green Lanterns is in there.
No, that logic works. Matt, what are you going for?
So my number 1's Super Sons. Number 2 is Justice League. 3 is Green Arrow. 4 is Batman. 5 is Nightwing.
Yeah. My number 1 is Justice League. My number 2 is Nightwing. My number 3 is probably Green Arrow, then Batman, and then Super Sons. There you go. Solid week.
Yeah.
Solid week. I mean, Green Lanterns had the big misstep for me, but other than that, I really like comic books. So, no, solid week to start off the month. So what's coming next week then? That's usually what I do next. So let me just get my list up, and we'll see if anything's changed since the solicits. So next week we have Superman issue 3, Detective Comics 988, The Flash 54. I'll just delete that. Justice League Odyssey issue 3 because that's definitely not happening next week.
They're supposed to be on 3.
Yeah. Supergirl issue 22, Mr. Miracle 11. Is that still right? Is that next week?
I don't I
I'm
don't
not
see
seeing
it.
it.
Okay, no, I think that's maybe week 3 now. Tell me that's not week
I
4.
hope it is.
Yeah, tell me that's not week 4. Someone look up Mr. Miracle number 11, where it's coming. We have Titans 25, which is a slightly bigger issue because it's the 25th, because they do that for the 25s and 50s. Hawkman issue 4 is next week, Plastic Man number 4 is next week, and Sideways issue 8. Also out next week, although not being covered by us, would be Wonder Woman 54, Immortal Men number 6, Red Hood and the Outlaws number 26, although Connor will get to that in a couple months, Suicide Squad 46, and The Unexpected number 4. So that's the books out next week. Oh,
just also the House of Whispers starts next week. As well.
That's the next Sandman universe book, yeah.
Oh wait,
it is, yes.
No, we're reading Suicide Squad, Pete. It's Sync Atlantis Part 3.
Oh, is that still the crossover? Sorry.
It's
okay.
still the crossover. So
okay.
I thought it might be.
Good job, Matt. Good job. So Suicide Squad.
I'm trying to see if I can find Mr. Miracle. If it, where that's.
Week 3. Come on, everyone, say it now. Week 3.
I'm hoping for week
3.
I think I already have my cover for next week.
Week 3.
At the moment, I'm seeing week 3.
Good. Right. He's out now. We know he turned it in. It's not going to get delayed because he turned it in. It was finished. He's on issue 12 now.
Don't say that. There can be printing errors. There can be shipping errors. Just
okay, there can be, sure, but he is done with the art. Gerrard's is done with the art, so
yeah.
Here's hoping. Week 3 is good. Week 3 is good because week 3 is quiet.
He put out his cover for issue 12 this week. See, there's the variants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap! What a cover.
Yeah. Yeah. I was expecting just Darkseid is for the final cover, but this is that, but with Scott breaking through the corner as if he's ripping through it.
So good.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
That is.
So that's what's coming next week. Hey, what a simple week of books this was. This takes me back to the early days when we only had like 6-7 books a week. And
that was nice.
Week 4 is it coming?
It would actually be that like every week if it was spread out evenly. They'll just be dicks right now.
Yeah, week 3 is pretty quiet. That obviously I've come on as Jeff and Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, week 3 is really quiet.
Not looking huge. Pretty average.
Yeah, 2's probably about normal, I'd say, and then 4's just 4's just like here's everything.
It looks like we've got about 7 books for week 3, which is about the same as this week.
Which is more than normal for week 3 right now. It's just because Mr. Miracle got pushed, which is fine. Give me it.
Yeah, and Batman Down starts as well.
Yeah, that's every other month, I think. So.
Yeah. So, double size too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's a quieter week, so I don't think it'll be much of a challenge.
Yeah, if that was on week 4.
Oh yes. And hell, it's worth mentioning Nightwing went double shipping, but it's actually a good thing in this case because it's week 3 that it's buffing up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, cool. We get more of this wacky race nonsense in 2 weeks' time, so that's fun. But yeah, so that's the book. Hey Matt, what do you feel about Timothy Dalton being cast in Doom Patrol? Are you happy with this?
I mean, that's cool. Yes, he's a Bond.
Yeah, he's a Dalton.
He's
a slasher of prices.
So I mean that role fit. Because I think he can play Grumpy, right?
Yeah, he can do Grumpy.
Oh yeah.
Calder's nothing but Grumpy.
He can do Grumpy. I want to point out on Doom Patrol now we have Timothy Dalton, Alan Tudyk, Brendan Fraser. Like that's 3 of our cast members so far.
It's shaping up, isn't it?
That's an interesting cast. They started casting Swamp Thing this week as well. Actually, we've got a couple of Swamp Thing cast members. No one that I really know that much. Well, I don't. Well, the best friend girl, she was on Channel Zero season 2, but no, that's.
I'm assuming casting Abby Arcane.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first person cast. Yeah.
It's someone who was on Gotham for a while.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Hey, there's a lot of good actors on Gotham.
Yeah. Let's not hold that against.
Yeah, Gotham's trash, but there's good actors on it.
Yeah, it might be fine. I'm just like Gotham.
Yeah. Just want to remind everyone that Matt promised he'd do a review of the first Titans episode the week Connor's away in October. I just want to remind everyone of that because I don't want him to like forget and then like pretend later on like, oh no, that was just a joke or
we're gonna have to squeeze it in because I remember I'm on vacation that week.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll squeeze it.
He's filling in for me because I feel he can do an adequate job of portraying the hatred that is required.
I just want to watch the first episode and then be like, it's not something I want to do every week.
Oh, Connor has to still watch it and then he has to continue it afterwards. So the last laugh's on him, but
I'm gonna be drunk, so it's fine.
Yeah, that'll be double. That'll be Drunk Arrow and Titans back to back every week. That'll be the plan.
He's not going to survive.
I might not. If I die, it was for a worthy cause.
It's not that worthy. which only makes it funnier, to be honest.
Making those shows tolerable is worthy. Better
All
dead
right.
than watching them sober.
All right, okay. I see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying. Oh dear. So yeah, by all means, let us know what you thought of this week's books in the comments and stuffs below. Like and subscribe. Get us on Patreon. In fact, worth mentioning, our monthly episode went out for patrons. Me and Connor do a monthly episode on Patreon. It's exclusive to patrons over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Or we did Sandman Volume 1, which was actually August's episode, slightly late, but we did that. That's the first 8 issues of Sandman we talked about. So that's up just now. That's the 13th one. So if you sign up now, you actually get access to like the 13 back episodes. Next episode for September, we're doing Volume 1 of Gotham Central. And then there'll be a vote in October because it's a week 5 month, and it'll be all horror themed stuff because that just makes sense. I promised it in November. I'm vowing now to do a volume 2 because we've done a few volume 1s. I want to do a volume 2 in October. Why is
I'll see about that.
Why? What have you got in your head? Like, oh, I want to do this instead.
I have suggestions.
You have suggestions. Is something happening in November that you want to tie into, and that's why you're being adamant?
Wouldn't you like to know?
We're doing a volume 2. Disregard the ginger. So so that's the monthly episode. You can get that on Patreon. You can just feel warm and fuzzy for support, and you can do that for $1 though. You don't have to donate that much. You can just do $1 a month and keep us going. But of course, you can support us other ways, so don't feel too bad. You can go over to the YouTube page and you can let the ads play on the videos. You can like, subscribe, comment, get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast, share us around, review us highly on iTunes or whatever your podcast app of choice is. All that helps. All of it's useful. So yeah, and tweet these two. And tell them that the crab mask and the Nightwing visor are for life. That's worth doing.
Nope.
Hey, there was I put a poll out about Kel's crab mask.
Fire.
I put a poll out for Kel's crab mask, and it was simple yes or no, and it was close, but yes did win. So.
Yeah, but that's because you're the ones. Your audience. You attract people who like stupid masks because
I'm
you
gonna
like
say
stupid...
Kyle's crab mask seems like something you buy in the prophylactic aisle at the drugstore.
Just to wrap this up with some hype for something non-comic book related, I just want to say that new Halloween trailer was absolutely fantastic, and I'm jazzing for Halloween now. That long shot at the start, Matt, that just kept behind Michael for like a good bit of time. I was like, yes, stalking.
Well, so and as good as that was, I really popped for the Silver Shamrock Halloween masks.
Oh sure, yeah.
That are on proud display. So,
yes.
Part of me hopes they take this in a anthology direction, like was the original intent. So the next one doesn't have to be about Michael.
I don't think they will, but I mean,
I don't think they will either. But it'd be great.
Yeah.
But,
Also, there's that moment because the Silver Shamrock for the Halloween mask in Halloween 3, the commercial's got a song, and there's a moment where it dawns on you years later, like, that's just London's burning, or London Bridge is falling down.
London Bridge falling down. Yeah.
That's all that is. That's that tune. But hey, I still think of that song first.
Yeah.
Silver Shamrock. So.
Well, much like Country Roads after Kingsman.
Oh yeah.
2. I'll never listen to those songs without thinking of that. So.
Yeah, that scene's great. Kingsman 2 has its problems. It's not a perfect movie, but Merlin had a good arc in that movie.
I know. Fallout 76 is trying to make that song its thing, but everyone's just going, yeah, but Kingsman.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Matt, you missed the last 71 Fallout, so they're on 76 now.
Yeah, I know. Well, everyone's playing that and Spider-Man, so it's fine.
That's what I'm going to go do right now.
Yeah, of course.
You're a prick. My Spider-Man is not arriving until sometime next week. And even then, it's unclear. It's like, oh, if the rental copies come back, I'll get it next week. The pricks. I'm not happy.
You know what I'm excited for?
What?
This book that's coming out on Tuesday, written by Woodward. You guys look confused. You've been keeping up with your news.
Yeah, no, I've not. No, what we talk about?
All right, there's a book called Fear by Bob Woodward. Bob Woodward is one of the guys that brought down Nixon through the Washington Post. Right. And he writes books about presidents, and this one's about the current president and how incapable that office is being ran. And I'm so excited to read it.
This is complete news to me, Matt. I would never have guessed this.
Have you read Fire and Fury yet?
No, but this is written by someone that's a legit journalist. That's why I'm going to this one first, because the source is a little bit more trustworthy.
Yeah, that's fair. I read that one because it was out.
Yeah. So you might want to pick this one up, Connor.
I'll make sure I do. Tuesday, you say? Yep,
it's out Tuesday. I already have it pre-ordered. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it arrives soon.
Yeah.
I'll get on that.
I'm still pissed I'm not playing. I'm still pissed I'm not playing. I'm just pissed I'm not playing Spider-Man tonight, right? I'm just pissed about it. I'm mad against the world.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Just mad.
No, you don't.
Vigi games.
I started playing Yakuza 0 last night. That was violent as shit.
People were getting it.
People
were getting it on Thursday.
I was bashing heads in car doors last night in Yakuza 0, so I mean that was me taking out my frustration.
And it was a wall of people just with like, hey, look at what I got. Hey, look what I got. I was like, oh, cool. I won't hear from them for a week. They're gonna shut themselves in, become video game vampires. It's great.
Ah, dear. I mean, I was gonna say, I wish DC could get a new big game, but I mean, we did get a fantastic set of 4 Batman games, so I can't really be that that grumpy about it.
We've had it pretty good compared to Marvel games recently.
Yeah. Rocksteady's working on something. There's another DC game in the works. I know it is.
You know what I said recently? I think a Wonder Woman game in the style of God of War would be perfect because, she deals with that mythological big creature shit all the time.
Yeah, I can see that. That would work. I think you have a Wonder Woman game like that. You have an open city game for the Flash, so you can speed around. Right, that makes sense for Flash. And then, who else is left? Green Lantern's a difficult one.
A Wonder Woman game?
What?
A Barbara and Minerva side quest.
My god damn it! It's so predictable, man.
Based off of issue 8.
Man, I'm gonna go see Rucker in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
he's
let
coming
him
to a
know,
con
please.
with me, and I'm gonna pass this along.
Yes.
I'm gonna load up just a clip of you going on about it on my phone and show him.
Please just show him and go. This is how he says he loves things. It's perfectly natural. Don't be put off.
And he'll still be put off because that's just the natural way of doing things.
No, I don't think. I think Ruck is fine. I think he'll be like, oh, that's cool. This guy's weird. Don't let him near me.
I feel like the biggest challenge DC character-wise to make a game out of is Green Lantern, because the whole point of Green Lantern is you can make anything, but you can't really do that in a game. You have to like predefine all the things that you can do.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is unlock new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the best thing would be just to give him hundreds and hundreds of things that he can make, so there's enough of them.
I think Green Lantern would work amazingly as a Metroidvania style. Like, okay, you need to be able to make this thing to get through this door, but so you have to unlock it later and come back.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see it. How about an indie game based on Mr. Miracle where you're just trying to escape things? You're just an escape artist.
It's just a 2D platformer.
Yeah.
Just gotta get out.
Yeah, there you go. That's your Mr. Miracle game. But of course, this is all just prelude to the Kite Man game, which is your flying simulator.
Hell yeah.
There's a hell yeah button. X to hell yeah, obviously.
Obviously. I think we lost Matt.
You did.
I'm just bogging this down in video game talk now. Alright, that is episode 120, I think we're on, of Comments from the Multiverse. I did all the plugins,
sure. Sounds good.
So that is us.
That many.
By all means, like you say, contact us, let us know what you thought, and yada, all that stuff. But that is us, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We appreciate it loads. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.